Let's talk about the validation rules in Salesforce. When you think of validation, what comes into your mind first? Basically, any real life scenario where you are basically checking something whether it's right or not, or is it as per a certain defined standards. Similarly, validation rules also play a similar part here. Let's take a simple example. The CTO of the organization wants to prevent data to received in Salesforce org unless a specific field is completed or filled, and additionally, this field is not required until certain conditions are met. So you have an object, and whenever user creates a record, then there are some conditions that needs to be met first before saving that record. Organization wants the users to fill out some information in that record, and if it's not filled by the users, then the Salesforce should not allow them to save this record. And also on top of that, there has to be some conditions which needs to be met before your users can even save that record. What usually comes in your mind with solution will work the best here. First option can be to make this field that you want users, that field to be filled by the users to make it mandatory. But making a field required might be possible in some cases, but we need to have some additional criteria. This record to making a field required will not work here. Then the second option is to use Apex class so that the users do not enter bad data. Apex is a possible solution, but it's not the easiest. It's not the efficient because not everyone is well with the Apex. And also it's not a very efficient solution. If you need to write advanced class for each and every use case for yourselves, you should first always check for a declarative option, then go to Apex programming only if the point and click methods do not apply, so the best option then becomes the validation rules. Now validation rules are not too difficult to implement, but still needs a thorough knowledge of your Salesforce data and the Salesforce objects and your business processes. The validation rules also have some conditions, and those conditions are also written in the form of code. Validation rules basically verify that the data, which is entered by the users in records, meet certain standards that you specify before they can save it. Rules basically consist of 4 parts. The first is validation rule name. Second is a description field where you should write a small description about what this validation rule does. Then we have the field conditions. We need to write a small code, which throws an error to the users before saving the record. Then we have to write an error message, the exact message that will be prompted to the user whenever a validation rule conditions are met. Let's understand how to make a field mandatory using validation rules in Salesforce. We are now in the Salesforce org. Under Accounts tab we can see all the account records. By clicking on the New button we can create new records for an account. Suppose we have requirement where we want phone field should not be blank while creating a new account records. So how this can be achieved using validation rules, let's understand. Let's go to the object settings of the accounts object. In the left side panel you can see different settings related to accounts objects. Click on Validation Rule tab, then click on New button to create a validation rule. Fill the rule name field to easily understand why the validation rule was made. You can see there are many different functions available to create the error condition formula. From the logical function we want is blank function to check whether field is blank or not. Is blank function returns true if the field is blank. Select phone field by using Insert Field button. Provide the error message. Select the field on which the error message should be displayed. And click on Save. Now our validation rule is ready, let's test it. On clicking on the Save button we got a message regarding account name first because it's made mandatory on field level. After filling account name when clicked on Save button it shows error message regarding our phone field.